Hi, I'm Karalee Sutterlin, and Hope Chapel has been my home church since I was stationed here as an Army nurse at Tripler Army Medical Center 10 years ago. I retired from the Army a year ago, which finally gave me freedom and opportunity available for the Lord. 1 month later, my church threw out announcements that they needed volunteers to help in medical missions on the Mercy Ship. The Africa Mercy Ship became my home in Liberia, and it is the largest hospital ship in the world. Life on a ship with a community of 400 staff was a challenge as well as a blessing. I saw and experienced and achieved more than most people will ever be able to understand. The medical service was a deep, spiritual, and emotional experience that changes your perspective. I served kids and adults with deformities and tumors that America would rarely see or treat. I remember a child that we operated on having a spleen the size of a football. The kids on the ward were so precious that anyone could adopt a kid to play games with them to decrease their stress. The surgeons were a special breed, and they had such compassion and dedication to these people. I assisted with so many people having goiters, that's an enlarged thyroid on their necks, some the size of baseballs. These growths you'd never see in the States. The rewards to me were seeing their smiles and how they rejoiced in the Lord when they were leaving. They were so grateful having these deformities removed. I help women who were victims from difficult early childhood deliveries or rapes during their war resulting with damaged, uncontrollable bladders. They were outcast to everyone. They always smelled so bad. Nobody wanted them around, and they had no support. They felt hopeless, shame, and alone. They traveled hundreds of miles hoping to get some help. After a 2-hour surgery and a 2-week recovery, the hospital had a dress-up day celebration, and they were given a Bible prior to leaving. They finally were given hope that they might be able to return to their families and be accepted once again back into their villages. Elizabeth was our first concerned patient, praying she would make it just through the surgery. The beauty of working with these people is that we have no restrictions offering prayer for each person, like we do today in our own country where you cannot pray in schools or businesses, and having surgeons pray prior to starting every surgery case. We knew Elizabeth was dying soon, and if we didn't do anything because the tumor was blocking her windpipe. This was the outcome with Elizabeth, and it was so comforting to see her interacting, clapping, and praising God during the ward's church service. We have an amazing God, and He is so faithful. Hundreds of people were lined up on the dock every day waiting for cataract surgeries. A surgeon in America averages 8 to 10 cataracts a day, but we were performing 30 a day. I felt like a robot working in that room. I got the privilege to assist in the first corneal implant ever performed in Africa. The advantage of being able to stay longer allowed me the opportunity to connect more with the people in Liberia. On any given weekend, one could volunteer to visit orphanages, play or offer assessments to the kids, visit prisoners, paint clinics, or deliver medical supplies by train to bush hospitals. All the schools were shut down for 3 to 4 years, and the country is battling now just to get them reopened. Elaine was my closest friend on the ship, so she took me to their boys' church, and I visited their home called My Father's House, who sponsors 26 orphan boys to shelter, feed, and help them finish school. I met all the boys and fell in love with all of them, but one of them particularly stood out, who experienced a grand mal seizure during a high school exam. I realized forfeiting a Starbucks coffee per month would cover his meds that he had no way of paying for. When I viewed their new opening of their second home, I realized they had no furniture in it. So 6 nurses on the Mercy Ship took it upon us to furnish the house with furniture and enough mattresses for all to have a bed. We got to see the end result just before we left. This foundation follows biblical standards of feeding orphans and widows. We chose to sponsor them after we returned home. The Mercy Ship built me up spiritually, providing daily devotions with groups of staff members. The important thing I want to stress is that everybody had a talent that they had to use for the Lord, and that without everyone's contribution, from it being a housekeeper to a cook or to a school teacher, they were all significant, and we couldn't have completed our mission on the ship without all of them. It was really sad to say goodbye to the African people who grew on me and the relationships that were formed during this time on the Mercy Ship. I'm planning on making this an annual event, and hopefully my husband will join me in 2010 when we can stay longer. We all have talents and spiritual gifts that the Lord has granted us. You can use them at home or wherever the Lord might send you. So I challenge you to seek and discover those special gifts that the Lord has given you and experience Him through them and His name being glorified. Thank you.